methodology we have helped pioneer with the California Economic Strategy Panel is applied to a lot of regions of California. There's a number of regions of California using this methodology, and it's, in simplified fashion, is the following. We look at some of these export-oriented sectors that sell their products and services outside the region, bring in wealth. But we also look at population-driven sectors, so health, construction. Now, the reality is, the trick here is that a number of these sectors are kind of hybrids. So, for example, is healthcare a local serving industry, or is it an export industry? The answer is, it depends, right? If you have a world-class heart center that brings people in from outside your region, that's more than local serving. Now you kind of have a hybrid situation. Clearly it's local serving, but it's also export. Construction. If you are really good about certain kinds of construction, well, that becomes a local serving industry, but also an export industry, because you actually can sell your services outside. So there are some hybrid situations here. And as you talk to employers, you find out things don't quite fall into the traditional categories as well as, this is what led us to clusters of opportunity. So we look at those things, and then we weave in this notion of career potential, which really focuses on, we care about sectors of the economy that are growing. We also care if it's providing opportunity for our people who live here. Are there career paths? Can people move from low to mid to upper skill jobs over time? What kind of job distribution do we have? Is it attractive? So all those things together provide, if you can find you find the sweet spot, then you're really talking about some sectors that really have some fundamental advantage for you and some fundamental payoffs for you over the long term. We also found that this kind of an approach really helps connect the worlds of workforce development, economic development. One of the things that doesn't get talked about as much is sometimes these worlds don't talk to each other very well for a variety of reasons, which we won't get into. I'm sure it doesn't happen here at all, but in some places, they don't talk well to each other. They come from different traditions. They come from some economic come from more business tradition, some from a social service tradition, not universal everywhere, but so there's difficulty of these worlds talking. Targets of opportunity help create the vocabulary to have that conversation. Doesn't say what the outcomes are going to be, but at least we can say, we can all share in this, because economic development sometimes, we got to work on the sectors of the future, right? They may not have a lot of employees right now, but boy, we got to keep encouraging those new sectors. And that's the right answer. Workforce development say, but wait a minute, we've got to train people we've got all these jobs in healthcare, construction, whatever, we've got to train people for jobs that are actually here. You know what? They're right too. And they both can be right. And they both can find some areas in the middle where there may be segments of certain clusters like health or construction or others that share a little bit of both those components. Some may be large growers, some may be new growers, and so it's all mixed in there. They can all be correct, and it helps get by things that kind of get in the way. Okay, so methodologically, how did we choose targets of opportunity? Well, the first thing we did is we got together a group of people from the region itself. It was mostly from Humboldt, because we started with the Humboldt Wood got funding for this and hired us for this, but they did it on behalf of the broader region. Okay, and so we looked at what we fondly call the mother of all spreadsheets. Basically, what we do is we work with the state and we print out the entire economy, literally, line by line, and that's like 20, 30 pages of spreadsheet. And with the team, we went through it, line by line. And we started looking for things. We looked for patterns. We looked for sectors that had expanding opportunity, whether it be job growth or firm growth. We looked for increasing quality, in other words, job quality, when we saw higher or increasing real wages when controlled for inflation. We looked for improving competitiveness. So you can do an analysis of regional specialization where you look at the location quotient of a sector. In other words, if you come out at 1, it's basically the share of the sector compared to the California economy or the U.S. economy. So given the size of your region, if you have X number of employees in that sector, if that's right at the U.S. average or California average, it'll be a 1. If you're at 1.5, you're 1.5 times more concentrated in that sector, which tells you something. Well, we got a little bit of an advantage here. Some reason why that sector likes to be here more so than somewhere else. So that tells you something. Career potential. Then we can look at the job distribution. Do we have a top-heavy industry, we have a bottom-heavy industry. What's the distribution of jobs across this? And then any kind of key linkages. So apply all those kind of criteria, all those tests, very dispassionately. Basically, don't forget all the preconceived notions about what the economy should be and what you know it to be. Just look at the numbers and tell us what it looks like. And out of that, we found 6 what we call targets of opportunity. And very briefly, these are diversified healthcare. So not just hospitals, but outpatient care centers, home health care, residential care, a whole variety of health alternatives that are beginning to increase now as our health system changes. That was a big growing sector. Building and systems construction and maintenance. So not just residential construction, but non-residential construction, particularly in this region, highway, street, utility, systems construction. As your communities have built, we've had to build infrastructure, and that has helped drive growth. Specialty ag, food, and beverage. Wine, beer, cheese, flowers. Sort of nicknamed it the pursuit of happiness. But basically, you've got some specialty products, right? These are really important. These are very high value products, and you've become specialists in some of these areas.